My name is Dino Lowrey. Dino like a dinosaur. I'm an archaeologist, so it must be fate. And we're in Idaho Falls, and we just heard some thunder.
Just great. And you were telling us a little bit about the float. Can you go into that for me?
Yes. Actually, we had our first P flag and Breaking Boundaries float in the Idaho Falls Parade. And Idaho Falls is incredibly pedantic, Republican, Mormon, conservative community. And a friend of ours, Mike Tyak, who's in Warsaw right now with his partner, John, wanted to have a float in the parade, and he said, "What do you think?" And my husband, who is the chairman of the Bonneville County Democrats, has built many floats, and they're award-winning floats, and we said, yeah, let's go for it. So there was a little bit of trepidation, but we decided, let's do it. And we had quite a cadre of individuals that helped out and came up with ideas and were willing to paint and make papier-mâché figures. And we won the grand prize. And so we're really excited because the float had on the side of it, "It's cool to be kind." And the theme of the float this year was the 4th of July through the eyes of children. So we had all these great big figures on it that were colorful and whimsical, like a big blue dog, and Virgil the gay turtle with sequins all over him, and fanciful bees and butterflies and wonderful figures. And the judges said it was the best float they'd ever seen. So we were really happy, and it was well received in the community. At least nobody threw tomatoes at us. And so we feel like this is a big step forward, and we can't wait to do next year's bigger and better.
Wow. What do you think it's like for the LGBT community in Idaho?
I think that it's pretty weird because I was raised in California in a family where being gay was a no, never mind, and there was nobody in my immediate family that was gay, but we did have an Aunt Scott. And then my sister's best friend was gay, and my dad announced that Greg was gay when Greg was 3 years old or 4 years old, and we're like, oh well, so what? And in fact, when Greg came out, and he was crying, and he goes to my dad and he goes, "Uncle Bobby," because that's what he called him, "I'm a homosexual." And everybody in our family's like, and what? And the point. But he came from a very traditional Greek Orthodox family where that was not talked about. So I was raised in California. It was a no, never mind. I went to Austin, Texas. Steve and I went to Austin, Texas. That was a no, never mind. And then we came to Idaho, and I realized that many gay people were still very closeted, and I suspect they still are. In fact, one of our most famous senators, Larry Craig, is still closeted. And I think it was difficult in some ways, and then in other ways, Idaho is kind of a individualistic state where people, don't want to necessarily stick their nose in other people's business. And so I think if people were discreet, then it was okay. But at the same time, I found that to be frustrating because I don't think it's something that you have to be discreet in the sense that you have to be in the closet. Like, I really don't want to know what other people's sex lives are all about. I don't want people thinking about mine. God only knows. I don't want to think about Larry Craig's or anybody's for that matter. And my gay friends are like that. They don't want people thinking about what their life is like. They want to be judged just as they are for the human beings that they are and what they contribute to society. And so it's almost like there's a double standard here where, most people are kind of like don't ask, don't tell. But more and more I see people recognizing that they know somebody that's gay or somebody's come out in the family, and they're like, oh gosh, I've always really liked that person or that uncle or that aunt or that sister or brother. And I'm seeing things change where people, especially younger people, are not as hung up about this and probably don't even care anymore, which is a really good thing because we have some serious problems to attend to in the United States that have to do with financial inequality and some social issues that need to be addressed, health issues. And this is a no, never mind thing. This should just go away. You know, I think we'll look back on it like civil rights and women's rights and possibly, you know, the suffragettes and what everybody had to put up with. And we think, oh, that is so old school. How could they even think that way? So I'm hoping that Idaho in the future will be very much that way. When I moved to Idaho, I just realized that there was still persecution that was going on. In fact, I had a bumper sticker on the back of our Subaru, and it said, "I'm straight but not narrow." And we're over in Wyoming, and we got a hate letter that was put on our windshield because of that. And I realized that people were writing letters, and they were just full of these misconceptions. And I felt that it was really important because I'm very pugnacious and know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. And the truth is, it is not a choice. It just is. It's just one of life's wonderful, wonderful aspects that make it so interesting. Because we all know that if Michelangelo were straight, the Sistine Chapel would have been painted ecru. So it's just really, it's just part of life, and it's no big deal. But I felt it was really important to always address those letters that were incredibly bonehead and wrong and full of misconceptions and ignorance, because a lot of people just didn't know. They didn't realize they knew gay people. They didn't know that it wasn't a choice. There was so much about a gay lifestyle that they didn't know. And so I made a vow to myself, just because I have so many friends that couldn't speak up and still are somewhat reticent to speak up in Idaho, that I would answer every single one of those letters and straighten those people out.
Does the newspaper always print your letters?
They have printed, before I was on the editorial board, they did print every single one of my letters. Of course, they like it if you print a letter and they think, oh, it's kind of a turd-stirring letter. So that way they'll get more people fired up and writing letters back. But what I am on the editorial board, so I do get to address that whenever I feel it's necessary. I do. Sometimes I'll hit them on some other issues. Socialized medicine, different aspects of society. And so I've received many, many phone calls, and they have all been very, very positive, supporting me in standing up and speaking out for gay rights. And of course, gay rights are not special rights. We all know that. We know that gay rights are just equal rights. And here we are. It's 2009. And we have a significant segment of our society that is, they're tax-paying, decent, wonderful, kind, wonderful people, and they're fighting for civil rights. You know, this is the United States of America, and people wonder why other people in other countries sort of mock us. Well, this is a major reason. It's, you know, This equal rights is one of our tenets, one of our founding principles, and we don't adhere to it. And I think it's time that we really change that. And I think people are ready for it.
Do you think there's progress being made in Idaho?
Absolutely, there's progress. I talk to people, you know, probably once a week. Somebody will ask me a question, and I'll answer it very honestly, and we'll have this discourse, this conversation about the gay lifestyle, or what gays are like. Or I always get recruiting, but they're trying to, you know, people who are really bonehead, well, they're trying to recruit, and I'm like, well, what? And what are you thinking, you know? There's just these fallacies that are out there. But I'm getting fewer and fewer of those questions, and more people are saying, well, I have a cousin that told me he was gay, and, you know, I guess I'm cool with it, you know, and so I do think that. I think that the general population, while they're a little bit, still a little bit timid about gay marriage in the traditional sense, understand that two people that love one another should be able to receive all of the benefits and blessings that a marriage brings. And so I think that in our lifetime we'll see that change, and I especially think we're going to see that change because there are pillars of this community that are very well-to-do, upright, moral Republican Mormons who have been married 4 or 5 times. And I'm like, what's with that? You know, come on. So people are starting to see through that hypocrisy and realize that love is where you find it, and it's very important to celebrate that.